if somebody asks you to switch seats with them on an airplane, just say no, because these people do not have good intentions. And I just got home from an early AM flight where somebody asked to switch seats with me, and it did not end the way you expect it would. You see, I normally take these early AM flights. Excuse the bedhead, I got up at like 4 AM for this flight because the airports are not crowded. You get on the plane, get your seat, pop in an AirPod, close your eyes, and you're home. You just fall asleep for the entire flight. But this flight, I get on board, take my window seat, pop in my AirPod, close my eyes, and I wake up to a tap on the shoulder. And I'm confused because I don't know anybody on this flight. And I look at the person, and it's a grown man, and he's like, "Hey, do you mind switching seats with me?" And my first thought is that he wants the window seat. I usually take the aisle seat because I'm like pretty tall, but this was the only seat available. And so I'm actually curious, like if he has the aisle seat, like I'll switch. And I'm like, "Oh, are you sitting in the aisle?" And he goes, "No, I'm actually sitting way up there, like row 12. You're actually gonna be like way closer to getting off of the plane than you are now when like the plane lands. I just wanna sit back here with my kids. We just weren't able to get seats together." There's no one in these seats. There are no kids next to this guy. And I'm just like, "Oh, like where are your kids?" And he goes, "Why do you care? Like, do you want to switch seats with me or not?" It's too early to like already start getting aggressive with somebody. I'm genuinely asking where his kids are, because if they're on this flight and my assumption is they're like young children, then they should be with him, already on the flight or literally right next to him because he just boarded. And so I'm just like, "Oh, like, sorry, I'll probably just like stay in my seat. I don't want to like switch around. I don't want to go through that whole like hassle." I know there's been times people check like boarding flights and everything. I just rather be in my assigned seat, close my eyes. I don't really want to add anything. And he goes, "Are you for real? You're not going to switch seats with me?" I was like, honestly, like I really just don't want to. And he like storms off, right? He goes away. All of a sudden, a few minutes go by, plane keeps boarding. 2 people sit down right next to me. Grown people like pretty close to my age. It's like a guy and a girl, probably his children, his grown children. And they're like kind of giving me weird vibes. So now I'm uncomfortable of sitting in these seats next to his kids. And the dad comes back up and he starts like having a conversation with them. Obviously having a conversation with them because I know he's going to be like, "Hey, like these are my kids. Like, can I still like sit here?" And the kids are like, I don't know. They're not having a great conversation like it's somebody you want to talk to. Like, I don't know if they're estranged from their father at this point or they're just tired because it's super early in the morning. And the dad's just like, "Yeah, like I tried switching seats with the guy next to you, but like he just doesn't want to budge. He just wants to be rude, I guess." And I'm just like, I take my AirPod out and I go, "I'm sorry, I don't want to switch seats with you. Like I paid for this seat on this flight. I want to just close my eyes, pop my AirPod in, and that be done. Like just go on my flight." And the kids are like, "Dad, like it's not really a problem. Like it's totally fine. Like this is a quick flight anyway. Like we'll be there soon." He's like, "Yeah, if it's a quick flight, I don't see why he cares so much about not switching seats with me." They're like, "You gotta relax." And I literally am getting irritated at this point. I'm just like, "Sir, I don't want to switch seats with you. Like I don't know how many times I need to tell you this. I'm not going to switch seats." And at this point, a flight attendant's walking by. He's like, "Sir, you need to sit down. Like we're getting ready to board." And he goes, "That man is sitting in my seat." Huh? He says I am sitting in his seat. And the one kid's like, oh, like sighs, like he knows like his dad's about to do this. And he just like has lived his whole life with his dad making situations worse than they need to be. And he goes, check his boarding pass. He is not supposed to be sitting in this seat." And the flight attendant's like, "Sir, can I see your boarding pass?" And I'm like, "Do you want to look at his? Like I'm sitting in my seat." And she's like, "Sorry, like I need to see your pass." I'm like, "Why don't you want to see his? He's claiming I'm in the wrong seat. Why don't you want to see if he's in the right seat?" And then the one kid was like, "Dad, just go sit in your seat." And then the flight attendant switches back on him like, "Sir, are you sure this is your seat?" And he just goes, "I don't know why he just won't give up his seat, ma'am. Like these are my kids. Why can't you switch?" She's like, "Sir, if he paid for this seat, like he is allowed to sit here." And so he goes back to the front of the plane where he's sitting and I'm sitting there. And then the kids are like talking to themselves. I put back in my AirPod. All of a sudden, flight's getting ready to take off. This man is back. He's back by my seat, like yelling at me to get up and move out of his seat. It's not your seat. And he stands up and he's like, and I stand up, I'm like, sir, I'm not giving up this seat. And at this point, people next to him are like telling him to sit down. And he shoves a man who tried to get up to tell him, like, buddy, like, go sit down in your seat. Like, you're making this flight way worse than it needs to be. And at this point, the flight attendant has to like come in and grab him. And was like, sir, we're going to have to escort you off of this flight for being physical with another, like, a passenger on the plane. And so he gets pulled off of his flight. And so the kids are like pissed off. So they get up and they leave and they get off the flight. And then I took the aisle seat because they were gone. And that was the seat I wanted. So if somebody asks you to switch seats with them on an airplane, just say no. You bought the ticket.